So, hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And I was listening to author Michael Lewis on, I believe it's Katie Couric's um, podcast. And they were talking about his book, which was released earlier in 20 or mid 2021, called The Premonition. They were talking about um, one person, apparently, a very special lady, public health officer in California, had a premonition, apparently, that about COVID-19. And that's what the basis of the book is. Anyway, in talking with Katie Couric, um, Michael Lewis basically went over the fact that the US's healthcare system, aside from any political standings of masks or how weak the strength of the coronavirus, the mortality rate, anything like that, aside from any of that, the system of the US public health services, whatever they might be, are not really set up to deal with pandemics. The CDC, everybody thinks that the CDC is the go-to organization for information and guidelines. Obviously, they failed in terms of their testing kit. That didn't work, I think. But beyond that, there are a lot of problems with the CDC. And in the case of the public health officer, who is the lead character of his book, um, actually she bans any CDC agents from her investigations because she has found, and other uh, health officers across America have found, that they create more problems than they help. So she and many other people across America do not look to that body for any help whatsoever, and as a matter of fact, try to stay as far away as possible in terms of having any connections at all. Um, the thing is that as Katie Couric talks to Michael Lewis, and it is revealed and it's shown that the system has so many problems. Um, at the end of it, Michael Lewis expresses a belief that I really couldn't believe. I didn't understand what the heck he was saying, um, because he was saying that he was actually optimistic about the future. And his reasoning for being optimistic about the future was that he had met all of these different, um, really intelligent, capable people uh, who had managed to work outside of the system in many ways to help the US to do at least better than it might have done otherwise. And because of meeting all of these talented people, I don't like the word talent, but I'm going to use it anyway. He feels that it's okay. For him, it's along the lines of these are the all-star players. They lost this season horribly, but they are so good that we know what to do next time. And I don't know what the hell he's talking about, because the system and the faults and the flaws in the system have not changed. Nobody has changed any of these things. He's talking about the fact that the head of the CDC is a political appointee. So as a result, they can't and don't make long-term plans because they're going to be gone long before any of those plans come into fruition. So that, in one case is it's like, okay, that hasn't changed. Um, in terms of how public health officers operate, in terms of any of the things that he was finding fault with, I can't name any of those, but none of those systems have changed. And he's mentioned the fact that, okay, um, Bush apparently read a book about the 1919 pandemic. He was so scared that he went to Congress and asked for like $7 billion to put together something that was handed over to the CDC in order to get the ball rolling to prepare for a pandemic. Obama initially did not continue it, but then very quickly reversed course and had it as part of the system. Then, of course, Trump pulled everything down. But according to him, the system sucked, and it wasn't really Trump's fault exactly. It's not he wasn't completely to blame for trashing this system that wasn't really too good anyway. And there's a part in there where, Katie Couric is like, okay, so Bush started something, and you're saying that it wasn't completely um, Trump's fault. So then Obama must be to blame, and he's like, he's like reaching, trying to. I don't know if he has crossed paths with Obama, or he doesn't want to say anything bad about Obama, but you can't have it all these different ways. Either the system really, really sucked, right? And Obama did not enhance it in such a way that it was Trump proof, or Obama did the best he could, and yes, you have to blame Trump for trashing what was there, however bad it was. And if you can look and praise Bush on the one hand for scrambling and putting something together, then you can totally blame Trump for destroying what was put together. Um, I don't know. I really don't know. And this is the thing. Michael Lewis is so excited, and I'm glad for him for having met all these talented people who were not able to put the US in a position comparable to um, Asian countries. So these Asian countries did not have all of these all-star players, and yet were able to, at least initially, to do a much better job than the US was without any of these smart people. Now the system is still the same system. The people, smart people, are still the same smart people, but they could not override the system. As a matter of fact, the lead character, this real person, I can't remember her name. She was told not to use the word pandemic because it would scare people, and she was banned from whatever meetings they were having in California, one presumes, because of the fact that I guess she would scare people the same way that, the people in China were initially told not to talk in those terms. So I don't, it kind of feels like Michael Lewis didn't read his own book, or somehow he's authored his book, he's read it, and um, he still wants to believe, in spite of the things that he's revealing to everybody. It's just kind of crazy, honestly. But life is a lot like that. We have a belief, and sometimes, a lot of times, regardless of the evidence, we just don't want to change our point of view. So, anyway, if you listened, thanks. Have a good one.